Hello, I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley.
And I'm her daughter, Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Heidi and I want to welcome you to Open to Hope Conversations, the podcast.
We believe that the greatest gift you can give yourself after a loss is hope, using this moment to connect with others who have not only survived but thrived.
So let's get started. Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter and co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Also joining us today is my other daughter, Rebecca Barra. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, I'm happy to be with both of you today.
So what we thought we would do on the Open to Hope show today, Heidi is a psychologist and Rebecca is getting her PhD in transpersonal psychology, has owned a yoga studio, a couple of yoga studios, and is a family member who is very insightful about holidays because she's lived through it when her brother was killed many years ago. And we wanted to talk to you about the holidays today. And both Heidi and Rebecca lost their dad 4 years ago. So we want to share with you how our family has handled it. And hopefully it will be helpful for you during your holidays this year. So Heidi, the holidays,
Yes.
what comes up for you?
Oh, wow. A lot came up for me when you said Dad's name because he was really big into the holidays. And he had a lot of ritual and just a lot of things that we did every year that were in place. And it was really, really hard not to have him there. And I know, Rebecca, for you, you always had holidays with Dad because you guys lived in the same state. So I'm sure stuff comes up for you too.
Yeah, the first year after Dad died, because we had Christmas with both my parents, they lived across the street from us for many, many years. And the first year after he died, I did not want to do anything. I didn't want to set up a tree or put up any decorations. Although I was reminded I have 4 kids. Granted, they're older and most of them don't live at home anymore, but I also realized I needed to have some normalcy back in their lives, even though it was challenging for me to acknowledge the holidays again without Dad there.
Bereaved parents are like, oh, I'm dreading the holidays. We're not going to have a tree this year or something. And Heidi, remind it what you say as a sibling.
Well, I think it's hard, especially if your children are little, because, they look forward to these holidays and all of a sudden, the parents are saying, well, we don't want to have them anymore. And, kids want to know that there's still enough, even though their sibling is dead, that the parent still wants to go on and still wants to have holidays for the surviving kids.
Yeah.
And I know with Scott, I know it was hard when Scott died, Mom, for you guys and for our whole family. And he certainly played roles in our house. I mean, he's the one that used to put up the Christmas tree.
Absolutely. I'll never forget the first Thanksgiving after Scott died that Rebecca flew in. Remember that you got a $99 ticket round trip
From Utah
you were
to
going
New York.
to Utah and you flew all the way to New York. And I remember how our friends had us over and, very mixed emotions. You have to be happy because it's their family, but yet, you're feeling that giant hole in your heart. And it was so nice to have Rebecca come in and be part of that and have something for us to look forward to, too. But I was thinking about you, Heidi. What about that first Thanksgiving for you? You knew Rebecca was in town. I don't remember. Were you in New York, California?
I don't remember where I was, but I think that I was probably glad that I was not there.
Okay.
I know that sounds really strange, but when you're grieving the loss of a family member, it's hard to be around family during the holidays because it just brings up the fact that Scott was no longer with us, my brother. And I think I was probably like, oh, this is nice. I don't really have to be around a grieving family. I can kind of take a break from it.
Isn't that great to know that? Because we all assume that everybody's going to be really sad. And then you're, happy that you could do that. And Rebecca's carrying the flag for the family. I'm sure you were happy that she was carrying the family too. Yeah.
But I remember I have fond memories of being there and that year. And it was nice to to do something different. We typically had Thanksgiving as a family, and it was nice to be invited to someone else's house and not have to go back to our traditional things that we did as a family, that we could go to someone else's house and share that holiday.
Yeah, so that's great to maybe ask people, your relatives, if they, if you can go to their house this year. There's some rituals we generally spend them at my house. So it was great to have somebody else invite us to go out. So, that's a nice thing to do. Let's talk a little bit about when you get to the event, because I think that's really important. So you're going to go for Thanksgiving or Christmas. You've lost a parent, or you've lost a sibling or some key family member. Let's talk about some of the things you can do now to prepare for that event. And I'll start out by saying this. Make sure, if you're not going to spend Christmas or Thanksgiving with people that you have spent it with traditionally, tell them in advance. And not everybody's going to like it. They're not going to be happy with what you're going to do, but give them advance notice. I mean, they'll get over it. Plus, maybe they won't get over it, but you need to take care of yourself now. But please let people know now. I know it's hard. It's really hard. Maybe you even write it in a note or a text, but tell them now, because they're going to be really unhappy if you don't.
I agree with you, Mom, but one of the issues with that is some people don't know. They think they can do it. And then at the last minute, they just feel very overwhelmed and they're like, I can't do this. I thought I could, but I can't do it.
Mhm. And what would you
Yeah,
say?
I think giving yourself permission to back out last minute and to leave early if you need to take care of yourself. And if you're feeling a lot of angst and upset about being at someone's house during the holidays, give yourself permission to say, I need to leave now.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me, but I need to go.
And I think that you can preempt that too with some advance notice, saying to people, if I have to leave the dinner table, I may need a moment, don't come and try to find me, I may need a moment, I'll be back. You can do that kind of thing. And also make sure you have your own wheels, your own ride home.
Mhm.
Get your Uber app,
I agree with you. You don't want to end up stuck somewhere if you're feeling really overwhelmed and feeling like you're grieving and you're like, okay, I want to get out of here, but I can't because I got a ride here.
Mhm. I also think that it works for me to go, it worked for me particularly then and after Phil died, go early. Not
Mm,
really early, don't be late, go early, go 15 minutes early. And then if you want to leave early, it works better than coming late and leaving late, and tell
mhm.
them, you may have to leave early. And then your host knows, and you just slip away and you got your Uber app and you leave, and your kids are able to stay for the party. Your spouse is able to stay for the party if they want to, the people that you came with, and you've let them know that you may leave a little early, and it's fine. I'll be fine. That's what people are worried about, that you're not okay. It's scary when people disappear.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So make
Yeah.
sure,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about some rituals that you can do. How do you want to talk about toasting? I know that's one of your favorite.
Yeah, I like that. So, you know how we always give toasts, a lot of us at Thanksgiving during the holidays. So I guess I would just say if you're going to do a toast, do it to everybody, not just to the person that died. So for example, if you're going to toast Scott, you would say, here's to Scott, we miss him, we love him. And here's also, I want to recognize my daughters, Heidi, Rebecca, and Heather. And we're so glad we're all together this holiday. So include everybody. Because as you know, when somebody dies, all the energy, all the emotion, everything goes towards that person that dies. And sometimes we don't talk about the people that are still here.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
you can have a picture of your loved ones there at an empty plate. Some people like to do that. That's not my favorite thing because it's a little sad, but you can do that if that's, if everybody agrees on it, and maybe the family thinks it's a great idea.
So,
So,
Mom, I'm going to say something. The first Thanksgiving that my husband, who was then my boyfriend, ever had at our house in New York, Scott was at the dinner. He was at the head of the table, his photo, a giant frame photo. And Marcus walked in and went, he didn't know what to think. And we were all acting like it was normal. We're like carving the turkey and passing around the mashed potatoes and gravy, and Scott's there at the head of the table, his picture.
So I also think it's important to make sure that we acknowledge the person that is not there this year with us. And so I think with my family, the first year we had Thanksgiving without my dad, their grandpa, we all went around and shared a memory of him.
I like that.
And with that, we also talked about, our memories of Thanksgiving. So it was also it was a memory of all of us, but was also with him at Thanksgiving. And so we just took that time to acknowledge him and be reminded of him, but also remembered like the joyful times. So it didn't necessarily bring the mood down, but he was there in the space with us, not physically being there, but his spirit was there with us.
Yeah, I think it's important to say their name, all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, you can say, hey, I really miss your dad today. And you don't expect a response.
Mm-hmm.
Say their name. And Heidi, talk about putting a rose out on the table.
Yeah. So yeah, we can do rituals. I just want to say one more thing about bringing people up. Mom, you've said this a lot of times. Don't expect people to bring up Scott's name or Dad's name. And if you go to a party, you might need to, if you don't feel like you can do it, you might need to ask somebody else to do it, because it's really insulting when people act like they never existed. All of a sudden, nobody's talking about them. And I know that people don't want to upset us, but you all know we want to hear their names.
Oh, one of the things I want to say about the toast, Heidi, is ask
Mhm.
somebody there to give a toast. It
Yes.
would have been hard for me to give a toast to Dad
Mhm.
or Scott. So
Mhm.
ask somebody there who could you give a toast to them while you're toasting the table? And it's just kind of a surprise. You say, thanks for the people having us here, and here's to the people who
Mhm.
Scott and Phil, and so that, and to the other people that are here. I love all that. So let's just talk one thing about holidays and decorations. I mean, that can bring up a lot of triggers and a lot of angst and kind of some sadness for people. And what do you do that first year? Now, I thought we had to grind through it. We did it the same way. People said to me, do it the same way. So
Mhm.
we did it the same way that first Christmas, but then we went to Hawaii with my mother the second year because,
Mhm.
it's tough. It's tough.
Well, and a lot of the ornaments and stuff, they have memories associated with them. I mean, Scott had that bulb with his name on it. I mean, you're getting out all these ornaments that are reminders of him.
I'll have to say funny about a Scott bulb. I think I've told you guys this. Phil and I, his dad, are sitting around about, I would say 15 years after he died. And all of a sudden that bulb jumped off the tree and broke on the floor.
That's so weird. How
It
did
was
you feel about
so
that?
strange. I just like, whoa. Phil, I can't believe it. Had it been earlier, I might have been sad, but it was like, I guess it's time.
Mm-hmm.
Guess
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a sign, you know.
Yeah. I like
I
thinking
also,
about it
I
that
also,
way.
yeah, I like that too. I also think it's okay not to decorate, to take
Mm-hmm.
a couple years off decorating, or forever if you choose. I
What
mean, yeah,
about the
if you've
kids?
got younger kids at home, yes, I think
Yeah,
it's important if
that's
you've
the
got younger
problem.
kids at home. This I'm saying, I'm in a situation where my kids have all left the house. They're no
Mm-hmm.
longer living at home. And so after my dad died, I took some time off of decorating. Um, like the big decorations that I'd done. And we did things a little differently. We went somewhere else for Christmas. And I think that's okay. And then as your kids are older as well, you can go to their house and they can decorate.
Well, especially
Yeah.
first years, you're too tired. I mean,
Yeah.
the first year, I mean, who can get into the whole holiday thing? It's exhausting. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
okay. I mean, we start after Thanksgiving now, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just can be an exhausting thing. Well, we hope this has been helpful for you all. And do you guys have, Heidi and Rebecca, do you have one last word you can say to people who are in those early stages of the holidays?
I think to listen to get quiet and listen to your gut and
Mm-hmm.
pay attention. And if your gut is telling you, if it's not feeling, something's not feeling right for you, listen to that and give yourself permission to say no.
I like that, Mom.
Mhm.
I'd say I'd mimic the same thing. Just have a lot of grace with yourself.
Yeah. Give yourself, we like to call it a hall pass. We'll give you a
Mm-hmm.
hall pass. It's like when you were in school, you can say that we have given you a hall pass at Open to Hope. If you need to take care of yourself this year, it's not going to benefit anyone if you get angry, if you get upset, if you get sick, rest, drink a lot of water, and take care of yourself, because you're the one that you need to take care of this season. And I know if you think about what your kids need, you will want to take care of them, but ask other people for help this year. Ask your cousins, your relatives to take the kids shopping this year. To get some of those things that you need off your back. Let somebody else make the meal and take care of yourself. Remember, you're number one, and your health is really important. So we want to thank you, Heidi and Rebecca, and I want to thank you for joining on this show today. And we always want to remind you during this holiday season, if you've lost hope, please lean on ours until you find your own, and God bless.
I'm Dr. Heidi Horsley. You have been listening to Open to Hope, the podcast. You can follow Open to Hope on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. To learn more, visit us at opentohope.com and go to Apple Podcasts to subscribe.
I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley. Join us again next week for another Open to Hope conversation, where we invite you to lean on our hope until you find your own.